You talked a lot about the run defense this season. It seemed like a step forward in that Patriots game. Just what did you see from the run defense specifically in the loss?
Yeah, but a lot of those things we talked about, over the bye week of, alignments and techniques. We felt like it definitely showed in that ball game, and it's a first step, and we just got to, continue to improve from, what we saw this past weekend, and we got another good opponent, different style of way of running things, but we got to be prepared and be able to apply those techniques and fundamentals.
How much of a difference did Justin Jones make, just being back in there and taking on double teams and being a run stuffer?
Yeah, his presence was felt. It was felt early. I know he talked about, once he got in there, he had to kind of feel his way around a little bit. But he said, after maybe a series or two, he felt good and was ready to roll. But we always talk about the depth in each room, and we needed some depth up front. I think it allowed other guys to be fresh. And he's a good communicator on the inside with the rest of those guys, so we definitely felt his presence.
Coach, the Eagles ran the ball for 236 yards last Sunday. They hadn't run the ball that much going into that game. What did you see from them against the Lions?
They definitely made a point that, hey, we're going to run this football. Could that be the attack moving forward? Not sure. We just got to be prepared. Obviously, we're going to prepare for those runs we saw, from the Lions game, and got to be prepared for, what they've done in the past. But they showed that they can be explosive. They got some big guys up front, some experienced guys up front, and when you have both the quarterback element as well as the back included in that, it makes it tough. So we have to cover all those bases in order for us to be solid against the run this week.
Part of that run game obviously is the escapability of Jalen Hurts. How important will it be to make sure that you guys can keep him in the pocket for longer stretches?
Yeah, our biggest thing we talked about is just, continue to be physical and play fast. Because if you're a little bit hesitant on this guy, he can hurt you as well. And we know you're going to get some runs. He's an elusive guy. He's a talented guy, and we just got to make sure that we try to minimize that as much as possible and not let the big explosives happen. So we know it's a challenge not only from the guys up front, but making sure we do a good job with the back guys, recognizing when he is out the pocket.
You guys did a relatively good job of containing Lamar in that Ravens game outside of that 20-plus yard scramble. Do you take principles from that game plan and apply them to this game with another guy in Jalen Hurts who can scramble and get outside the pocket?
When you're facing a talented guy, you try to find those comparisons, but all those guys are different. They have different ways of doing it. You had Lamar, who's a elusive joystick, who's out on the perimeter. You have Hurts, who's a strong runner, who can break tackles as well. So different comparisons in that aspect, but they're all talented, and we got to make sure that we tie those guys into who they are with their physical traits. Mahomes is another guy who can get on the perimeter and make things happen, but just all different and find different ways to do it. But the more and more experience we get with the quarterback runs, I think it just helps us.
You guys had some injuries in the secondary against New England this past weekend. Can you maybe just update us on how that changes your game plan or your rotations? Because I remember before the Patriots game, you were talking about how you were going to rotate your corners.
Get everybody back. Yeah, still figuring out through this week, who's going to be, able to go and who's not. But the guys that we have had in the practices, we've asked them to be ready to step up at any time. And a lot of those guys we're talking about getting in a rotation anyway. So it just adds a little bit more urgency to our group that, hey, you're going to be ready to roll. And if they are out there, we don't expect anything different. Those guys prepare hard, and Coach Ansley and Coach Donatel do a good job of getting those guys prepared.
In the game, you guys went with, Ryan, TC on the outside. Would you consider moving Chris out there, considering how thin you are at outside corner, or do you want to keep him in the slot more?
Yeah, we work all those guys, at each position because we don't know how it's going to play out. A lot of those guys do play special teams, so being gassed maybe off a special team rep, that may, add a guy maybe playing outside or inside. It's based on how we can, rotate those guys. But Like I said, we're going to see how those other guys are feeling, after today, and be able to, see how we can move forward with our plan.
Well, now that we've asked you about Jalen as being mobile and very athletic and can move with his legs, but as a passer, do you see improvement on a weekly basis as a thrower for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, definitely. When he's either in the pocket or out the pocket, it's a clean throw. I mean, it's fluid with his arm. His deep balls are really good. He can put it on the line and he gets there fast. But they tie in all of it. They tie in him moving him out the pocket. They tie him staying in the pocket. But he has some weapons on the outside, and he can get the ball to any of those guys, whether he's in the pocket or outside. So it's going to be a tough game plan for this guy. He is talented. He's doing a good job, and it's just showing that he's on the incline just after that last week performance.